Yo, what's up guys, welcome back to another video. This is a reaction to even more strange and interesting US counties. I reacted to strange counties in the US, which is obviously part 1, and now I'm reacting to this one. It was a fun little reaction. I mean, I can't really remember what the counties were. There was one in Hawaii that was like a county of where people with a certain disease were all forced to stay. Can't remember what disease, but yeah, it was just a video of these weird places, but there's more, so I guess, yeah, we're going to check this out. And this one's a lot longer as well, so I guess these ones are just as wild and wacky. Can't like this video for some reason. I don't know. Oh, computer's bugging out. Oh, it's unliked it again. I don't know what's going on. We're going to check this video out. Hopefully going to enjoy. Links are in the description to my Patreon, where you can see reactions that I can't post to YouTube, movie reactions, TV series reactions, all that good stuff. Links are there. But let's check this out. Some Geography King, the GOAT.
Howdy, it's Kyle with part 2 of strange and interesting U.S. counties. With most counties in the country doing kind of the same type of thing, the same type of jurisdictional control, generally the same type of size and scope, there are certain ones that do things a little bit differently based on their physical geography, and that's what this series is. I'll leave a link in the description and one of those little blurbs up there to part 1 if you want to check those out, but let's take a look at part 2 of strange and interesting counties in the U.S. I'm going to start with Lake of the Woods County, Minnesota.
I've literally just done a whole reaction to this place, so I've learned about this place now, but it is crazy because these people have to travel all the way around, and they have all these types of problems just getting back and forth in the US. It seems like hell living somewhere like this because you're just getting through so many problems all the time. But it's a cool place. It's fascinating.
This is the northernmost county in the country and the northernmost county equivalent in the contiguous U.S. The county has about 3,900 people, with the county seat being Brit with about 1,000 people. And it's the only county in the country whose name is something X of the Y. So it's Lake of the Woods County, and it takes its name from Lake of the Woods, which is that big lake there. Lake of the Woods is the largest lake in the U.S. after the 5 Great Lakes, and it's the 36th largest lake in the world. However, only parts of it are in the U.S., other parts are in Canada.
Damn.
But what makes this county really interesting is that it's home to the northwest angle. This is a portion of U.S. land that is discontiguous from the rest of the U.S. by land. And many people know about this, how you would have to drive through portions of Manitoba, Canada to get from the main part of Minnesota to the northwest angle. But one thing that's less known is that the northwest angle is not discontiguous from the U.S. It's contiguous by water, so you can take a boat from the north shore of Minnesota to the northwest angle and not leave the U.S. And then during the winter, when the lake freezes over, there's an ice road, so you can drive from the north shore of Minnesota to the northwest angle.
I learned about
Most of the land of the northwest angle is part of the Red Lake Band of the Chippewa Nation, and the total number of people living in the northwest angle is about 150. So Lake of the Woods County, the only county named X of the Y something, home to the largest lake outside of the Great Lakes, and you got this weird northwest angle part that's discontiguous. Pretty interesting things for one county. Next, I want to move on to Cimarron County, Oklahoma. This is the westernmost county in the state. It's the west end of the Panhandle, and with a population of 2,200 people, it's the least populous county in the state. The largest town and county seat is Boise City. It looks like Boise, but it's pronounced Boise. And it's also home to Black Mesa, which is the highest point in the state at just under 5,000 feet and just over 1,500 meters. And what makes Cimarron stand out is that it's the only county in the country that borders counties in 4 other states.
Oh.
It sits on the state lines with Texas, New Mexico, Colorado, and Kansas. And even though the entire state of Oklahoma is on Central Time, there's one town in this county, Kenton, that runs on Mountain Time. So, Cimarron County, nice place sitting there at the western end of the Panhandle.
Damn.
Next, I'm going to move down to Monroe County, Florida.
Is this going to be the Florida Keys? If this is the Florida Keys, man, I'm happy because whenever I see this place, it just brings joy to me because it's such a unique place just to see. It's so random to me, and I'm just so fascinated by it.
And whereas Lake of the Woods County, Minnesota is the northernmost county in the contiguous U.S., Monroe County is the southernmost county in the contiguous U.S. It has a population of about 83,000 people, and the largest town is Key West with about 27,000. And the reason why this is such an interesting county is its huge dichotomy. Because this county consists of both most of the Florida Keys as well as a big chunk of Everglades National Park and Big Cypress Swamp National Park.
Oh, so this is connected to this. that's so random. What? I mean, I kind of get it because a lot of it's like this side, and it's the side of the Everglades National Park. But this, it's just okay. I mean, it is what it is, I guess.
Preserve. Essentially, the entire population of 83,000 lives on one of the keys, and 87% of the county land is uninhabited. It's either the protected Everglades or Big Cypress Swamp. I find it very interesting that Monroe County is essentially the entire chain of the Keys, but Miami-Dade County goes pretty far west into the Everglades. It gives the county a very strange look when you're looking at just the shape of the county itself. After Key West, the most populous islands are Key Largo, which is the largest one with about 14,000 people, Marathon Key with about 10,000, and Isla Morada with about 7,000 people. At the south end of the Keys is Dry Tortugas National Park. It's accessible by boat or...
This is a national park. It's like a prison. I mean, what's this all about?
...or seaplane only, and it's home to the unfinished Fort Jefferson.
Oh.
And from a geography standpoint, this is the southern and westernmost keys in the Florida Key chain. So you have a large number of near tropical islands, a big giant wilderness swamp.
See, seeing this is so wild because it's just linked up by small islands. Obviously, it's all a bridge. And you got a little bit of a little settlement here. You go further along, I guess there's other small settlements, and it's just along. There's loads of. Is this even a settlement here? Like, I guess this might not be. This might just be a little stopping area. I don't know, but it's just so fascinating to me. This place, man. I don't know how people even settled here in the first place. And in terms of like when it's like obviously this area, I assume gets hit by storms when it's that season, or hurricanes. Rarely, I guess. How does it deal with it here, or like floods or whatever? Because it seems very low, and obviously because it's so far into the ocean, I assume it deals with flooding quite a lot. But maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
Unfinished fort and a bunch of hurricanes, all with Monroe County. Next is Northampton County, Virginia. This has about 12,000 people. The county seat is Eastville, and the largest town is Cape Charles. And this is along the eastern shore of Virginia. This is the southernmost part of the Delmarva Peninsula. And Delmarva refers to that peninsula that's partially Delaware, Maryland, and Virginia. And this part is the Va of Delmarva. There are two counties in the Virginia eastern shore, with the one just north of Northampton being Accomack County. I've always found it interesting that this is part of Virginia and not Maryland, but either way, this is a very lightly populated rural area. You might think that being right there on the beach would be a huge draw for development and housing, but this part of both the Atlantic side and the Chesapeake side are pretty swampy, so perhaps not the best for beaches or tourism, but better for keeping it nice and quiet around there. Northampton County is also the northern terminus of the Chesapeake Bay Bridge Tunnel.
These tunnels are so fascinating as well, man. They're very rare, but like the idea of having to build it, I don't know how hard it would have been, but there's two. There's one here, and there's one here. I assume it's to allow boats to go through. But the engineering for that is crazy to me. I mean, I don't know how long they would have taken to make, but it must have been a good amount of time.
It was completed in 1964, and prior to that, it was only a ferry service to get from the eastern shore of Virginia down to Virginia Beach. And because it's not part of Maryland, it was effectively an island to Virginia. And because there was so much development separate from the main part of Virginia, the accents in this part are also different. And that drive up the eastern shore of Virginia is really nice. You see a part of the state you don't normally think about when you think of Virginia.
There we go.
Going farther up the Atlantic coast, I'm going to Norfolk County.
Oh, Norfolk. I mean, I'm from a county called Norfolk as well in the UK. So we take that.
Massachusetts. This is west-southwest-ish suburbs of Boston with a population of about 725,000. And this is a discontiguous county. Between portions of this county, there are portions of Suffolk County, which is where Boston is. Originally, all of Norfolk County was contiguous, but then Boston and Suffolk County began annexing parts of Norfolk County. And then after all the annexing of Boston and Suffolk County, the towns of Brookline and Cohasset were exclaves to Norfolk County. And each of these suburbs is a separate exclave, so Norfolk County, Massachusetts is the only county that has multiple exclaves, but over land, not by islands and water. And for Massachusetts, that often doesn't matter what county you're in. There are technically 14 counties in the state. However, 8 of them are used only for census purposes and population count. But Norfolk County is one of the 6 that does still act with a county government. So you can commit a crime in Brookline and have to deal with a Norfolk County DA.
Damn.
Heading out to near the west coast, I'm going to Inyo County, California. This is located on the eastern side of the Sierra Nevada, going over to the Nevada state line. There are about 19,000 people in the county, with the largest towns being Bishop, Lone Pine, Big Pine, and the county seat, Independence. This is the 9th largest county in the U.S. in terms of area, and there are several aspects of its physical geography that really make it stand out. One, it's home to Mount Whitney, which is the highest mountain in the contiguous U.S. It stands at about 14,500 feet, or over 4,400 meters.
I didn't know that.
But Inyo County is also home to Death Valley National Park, and within that is Badwater Basin, which at 282 feet below sea level.
Wait, what? So, this county has the highest, like the tallest or the biggest mountain in the contiguous U.S. and also, wait, did it say this is the lowest point or just a low point? Because this is crazy low, and this is what, all in the same county?
But Inyo County is also home to Death Valley National Park, and within that is Badwater Basin, which at 282 feet below sea level is the lowest point in North America.
What?
So you have the highest point in the U.S. at Mount Whitney and the lowest point at Badwater Basin only 90 miles or 140 kilometers apart.
How does that happen?
Also, there are 12 peaks in California that are over 14,000 feet, and Inyo County is home to 10 of them. But that's not all. Inyo County is also home to perhaps the oldest tree in the world.
I've seen this tree before. This is a fascinating county, goddamn.
A Great Basin bristlecone pine named Methuselah.
I mean, this tree does look like it's been through it. It's like clinging on to life at this point, but it's still cool, the fact that it's still kicking, you know, still trotting along.
Is thought to be over 4,800 years old.
Damn.
There are some other trees thought to be about the same age, but whether or not this was the actual oldest one is certainly one of the 5 oldest trees in the world. And within Death Valley National Park, which is within Inyo County, is the highest recorded temperature ever on Earth.
We know
a
that.
temperature of 134 degrees or 57 degrees Celsius has been recorded at the park.
No, thank
the
you.
average high in July for this area is 117 degrees or 47 degrees Celsius. That's an average July day.
Grim.
So the highest peak in the contiguous U.S., the lowest point in North America, the oldest tree in the world, and the highest ever recorded temperature on Earth, all in Inyo County. Heading over to the Mississippi River, I'm going to Fulton County, Kentucky. It has a population of about 6,000 people, with just over 2,000 each in Hickman and Fulton, the 2 largest towns, and it's located in an area right around the Kentucky bend of the Mississippi River. This is the southwesternmost county in the state. It borders both Missouri and Tennessee, and this is another county that has an exclave. But this one's a little bit different. You can get there by road, but only through Tennessee. If you go by crossing the Mississippi River, you go into Missouri and you cross the river again to get back into Kentucky. And the result is that I believe Fulton County, Kentucky is the only one in the country where you have to leave the state to access another part of the county. But perhaps the best part about the Kentucky Bend, this area that's been cut off, is that the population right now is 9. So buy up some land and be the 10th person to live in this.
Exclaves just seem a bit of an inconvenience. I mean, I guess so they are, but if it's just a little bit of land, I guess, why don't they just swap it? Like, just swap a bit of land from the other state, the other county, and then just be like, yeah, okay, that's a fair swap. But I guess maybe historically, now it's been so long, it's just pretty much impossible to do that. But surely when these counties were first being made, they should have just thought this through and been like, okay, we're not going to have these situations. Because from what I know, I don't think counties in the UK have this issue. I could be wrong, maybe there's exclaves here. But from what I know, you don't have any of these issues. So I just don't know why they couldn't have just thought it through. But hey, it adds to these funky counties, right?
This exclave of Fulton County, Kentucky. Going back up to New England, I'm going to Grand Isle County, Vermont. The county has about 7,300 people and is the smallest county in area for Vermont. And this county consists of a series of islands as well as a functional island in Lake Champlain. So the main islands are called North and South Hero Island, plus there are many other smaller ones. And overall, the vast majority of the islands in Lake Champlain are part of Vermont and not New York. Because the border between Vermont and Quebec, Canada was determined to be a line of latitude, it cuts off a part of this county known as the Alberg Tongue. Because this peninsula is jutting down and the largest town on it is Alberg, this is known as the Alberg Tongue. And even though this isn't an island, because there is no road access to other parts of Vermont without going through Canada, it's jurisdictionally an island.
Oh. What the
Next,
hell?
I'm going to go down the Atlantic coast to
What the
Dare
hell?
County, North Carolina. It has a population of about 38,000 people and consists of some swampland on the mainland as well as the Outer Banks. And the
Wait, so the Outer Banks is where... Is the Outer Banks where the series Outer Banks is filmed? I assume it is. Because, I mean, it makes sense, but I don't know. But yeah, this is another fascinating place. It's just this thin strip that I guess loads of people just live all along. God, the formations are so crazy.
Outer Banks are a line of narrow barrier islands offshore, with the most well-known islands being Hatteras, P, and Bodie.
P.
But because these are low-lying flat islands with a lot of wind,
Beautiful,
the Wright
though.
brothers chose this area for their base of operations to test early airplanes. And where they did this is called Kill Devil Hills. It's a town now, but at that time there was nothing there. But on the mainland, you also have Alligator National Wildlife Refuge. And this is a swampy wetland
No, thank you.
area at the mouth of the Alligator River as it dumps into the Intracoastal Waterway.
Oh.
So in many ways, it's like Monroe County, Florida, where you have a mainland part that's mostly swampy, wetland protected area, and then most of the people living on islands. And if you're a paramedic in one of these counties, you might be responding to a shark attack one minute and then an alligator attack the next. So Dare County, another one that has a dichotomous aspect of the county where the sheriff and the DAs have to deal with two very different things, even though the overall county really isn't that big. And lastly, I want to mention something I mentioned in other videos, but if I'm going to be doing a video talking about strange counties, I certainly have to mention these. And that is that the city of New York is actually divided up into 5 counties. Under New York City are the 5 boroughs, which is each its own county.
Wait, the boroughs are all counties? I guess in terms of population it makes sense, but what? That's so random. Again, in terms of populations, they're probably some of the most highly populated counties in the country. But in terms of size, I assume they're probably similar, to be honest, because New York is so big. So that probably makes sense.
Manhattan is New York County, Bronx is Bronx County, Queens is Queens County, Brooklyn is Kings County, and Staten Island is Richmond County.
Oh, okay.
So in case you've ever wondered why it's Queens, well, Brooklyn is actually Kings County, so it would be Kings and Queens. So New York City is the only one in the country where the city jurisdiction supersedes the county jurisdiction. A guy from Queens commits a crime in Brooklyn, then gets caught in Manhattan. Which DA gets the case? I'm not sure how it all goes down, but New York City's county situation certainly makes it interesting.
I'm sure they don't really follow it like that because, I mean, at the end of the day, it's all just the same city. But there we go, Kyle. As a faithful watcher from Canada who's a geography nerd myself, I just want to say how lovely and well put together videos are. It's true, man. I do love his videos. There's something that just so relaxing and just learning these sort of facts without all these jumpy edits and all this stuff. It's just cool to learn from someone who clearly loves what he does and like sort of exploring and researching this sort of stuff. And yeah, man, these places are just, it's just more intrigue to these random places in the US. And yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this reaction. And yeah, until next time, I subscribe and peace.